Why am I so dumb?
Hey everybody. True Crime Tuesday, which we're actually, I think, about to change to True Tuesday. Just because I don't want to only do true crime on Tuesdays. I mean, true crime is a good coverage, but they always take my videos down. And the world is just kind of really rough right now. I think that we just would like to have not just true crime, but just true stuff on Tuesday. So that's like today, we're talking about Ryo Tatsuki, a Japanese lady who had a manga book that she wrote in 1975 based off of her dream diaries. Now, the strange thing with Ryo is that her predictive dreams, or her dreams that she had, predicted major events in Japan and the world. She's also predicted things that have not happened yet. So I hope you enjoy this episode of True Tuesday. If you like my content, please comment, rate, and subscribe. It would mean a lot to me and help me move towards my dream of doing this full time. Anyways, thank you so much for your support, and here's the story. Ryo Tatsuki is a Japanese lady that debuted as a manga artist in 1975. From 1980 onward, she claimed to have experienced premonitory dreams in repeated occasions and decided to record these dreams in a dream diary notebook. In 1999, she decided to compile the most horrifying ones in a manga book that she titled The Future That I Saw. Some of these premonitions had already occurred by the time the book was published, such as the 1995 Kobe earthquake or the death of Freddie Mercury in 1991. However, it wasn't until 12 years later, in 2011, that the book became very popular in Japan after successfully predicting the Great Tohoku earthquake that struck the east coast of Japan in March 2011. The tremor was followed by a tsunami that brought destruction and caused the Fukushima Daiichi nuclear disaster. Some conspiracy theorists started to spread false information about Ryo that related with her and some sort of malefic organization that triggered the earthquake intentionally and artificially with the goal of controlling the population growth. The book covers illustrates a young lady, presumably the author, who's seen crying and covering her left eye with her hand. On top, the artist shows a selection of 6 pages from the dream diary maintained by the author from 1985 until 1999, the time during which she claimed to have experienced this type of dreams. Titles such as The Eruption of Mt Fuji, Princess Diana, or My Own Funeral can be seen in the diary pages illustrated in the book cover. In 2 different occasions, Ryo dreamed that her best friend's favorite rock star, who happened to be Queen's Freddie Mercury, died on that same day 15 and 10 years from then, respectively. According to her diary, in the dreams she also foresighted that a movie would be made in his memory, which occurred in 2018, namely Bohemian Rhapsody. Freddie Mercury died on November 24th, 1991, exactly 15 and 10 years after her respective dreams. On January 2nd, 1995, Ryo experienced another premonitory dream that she described in her diary with the terms, "The earth cracks in Kobe, 15 days or 15 years later." The Great Hanshin earthquake struck Kobe 15 days later on January 17th in what has become one of the most devastating earthquakes recorded in that region. It's claimed that 20 people who had learned about Ryo's premonition actually believed her and decided to evacuate before the disaster. The manga artist explained that this dream was rather blurry and hard to remember. However, she wrote the note that could be roughly translated into Diana died. She also drew up the lady who appeared in her dream. She retired in 2020, 5 years after she had the dream that described in her diary as My Own Funeral. She realized that the funeral was referring to the end of her own profession as a manga artist. On March 11th, 1996, a catastrophe somewhere in eastern Japan in March of 2011. This is a shocking statement that the manga artist dreamed about. Initially, She decided to publish it in a magazine in 1996 so that people could learn about her premonition before it happened. And 3 years later, in 1999, she made it into one of the manga stories for this book. One morning in 1995, Ryo Tatsuki wrote in her diary, "In 25 years, an unknown virus will come in 2020, will disappear after peaking in April and appear again 10 years later. In 2020, the year of the COVID-19 pandemic, the author appeared in social media and apologized for having failed to predict accurately the exact peak of the pandemic, which came with the second and third waves of COVID-19. As a result of this accurate prediction, the book gained a lot of popularity during 2020, which illustrated in the graph shows where interest peaked due to Google searches for the past 10 years. Whether or not the coronavirus will return in 2030 as she claimed to predict remains unseen. The big eruption of Mount Fuji is perhaps the most horrifying of the predictions made by her. An eruption would be devastating catastrophe, and according to her dream in 1991, is due to happen sometime soon. Based in her dream diary, the earliest possible date for the eruption is August 20th, 2021, or on the same date every 15 years until the year 2141. Although Mount Fuji has been dormant for over 300 years, for the past 10 years, Japanese geologists have found clues that may indicate that the volcano is due to erupt soon. Hypothesis that aligns well with the timeline that Ryo had envisioned. Similar to the prediction of Mount Fuji's eruption, Ryo predicted that in 1991, a big earthquake would strike the region of Kanagawa and followed by a huge tsunami that would wipe out the coast. This time, the author did not record the exact date of the dream, except that it was between June and September of that year. According to Ryo, she predicted that the catastrophe would arrive in 2026, or every 15 years until the year 2131. Some people have tried to explain Ryo's ability to hypothesize while dreaming, and how she reaches a collective unconscious state, which theoretically is a subconscious state of mind that was proposed by a psychiatrist. Some other people are skeptical about her premonitions and attribute it to mere coincidences. Others have just claimed that it's not true at all. Regardless of what the truth is or what you believe, the fact is that the book was published in 1999 and it's never been edited beyond that date until it eventually stopped selling. Nowadays, it's extremely hard to find any secondhand copies of this book, as it's considered a rare item for collectors, selling around 100,000 yen, which is about $1,000 US. And who knows what would happen if the predictions about Mount Fuji's eruption and the Kanagawa earthquake happened as predicted. However, let's just hope that she was wrong this time. As of today, Ryo enjoys her retired life and is no longer experiencing premonitory dreams. In the meantime, she's a very active user on social media where she shares her stories and tries to have a positive impact in Japanese society by using her past predictions to spread awareness about natural disasters.